So, yes, Martin Roadkill and Silly Kelly got excited about Halloween, and they built this. It's fairly impressive. Lights up, and it's Boxy the Box Monster. Yeah, so cool. There it is. Excellent. And he has a lightsaber. I'm not sure how I could use that. There was already trick-or-treaters here at like 4, and now it's 4:30. Weird. But yeah, I guess it sort of vaguely resembles a Minecraft turtle or something. Or a bantha, maybe? A broken one. No, we'll see what it looks like in the dark. It probably looks better. But yeah, from the back, it has Christmas lights all over it. Yes, because this is Kal Kat, the Kal Kat, and it's Halloween Eve. Even though we weren't going to do a Halloween special, there isn't a special. We're not going to watch a movie. That's a little after 8 on Halloween. So, yeah, it's sort of a blog, I guess. I'm going to show off the glowy Boxy, the box monster, and all that stuff on here. And other things. Mark's Cards did a bunch of Halloween-y, creepy things, too, on the thing. But he's not here. He's home. I don't know if we'll show those or not. Maybe we'll show those later, afterward. So here we have, yeah, Halloween. You'll see the box. This is the box creature. It is puking light on the wall, lighting up the wall. And yeah, so has its shell. It has various lights that were not used in the new starter. And it glows. It shoots fire out of its mouth, which is an old suitcase. It's very cool. And it's the only, it's like a beacon almost. It's like, yeah, there's almost no other, like, there's like, Napolitanos have like some Christmas lights up. And there's no other Halloween houses in the block. There's one on Platt. And that one's, yeah, that one's a light here. And yeah, there it is. And this angle, see it from way back here when you walk down the street. And it's a waning moon. But it's not visible right. Yeah, so apparently something going on in the park. Yeah. So yeah, Silly Kelly, get rid of the Butterfingers first, because yeah. Oh no. Anyway, so yeah, it's Halloween, and yeah, so turned off the camera because there are people on. I don't want them to think that we're going to film them. That'd be bad. Anyway, so yeah, there isn't much going on. It's not a Halloween special. It's just hanging out. Yeah, we're not going to do a treatise on what is horror or whatever, or Exorcist or whatever. But there was a funny thing that, well, Red Letter Media already did their horror movie thing and their review of The Exorcist and their Friday the 13th thing. And one of the comments for their review of the Exorcist movie, Exorcist sequel, that they made a sequel remake just recently, was and I didn't see it, but they wondered what the in their commentary what a Latin or Spanish or Mexican family would do it was actually the exorcism was actually in their family, right? And Kal Kat commented in their comments, well, there wouldn't be a movie because they know about Dios de los Muerta, which is like kind of Halloween, but kind of not. It's more similar to Sam Hain's Day and All Saints Day, which is afterward. But in Dios de los Muerta, Dios de los Muerta, yeah, de los Muerta, Day of the Dead. They honor their ancestors and stuff, so nothing bad happens. So because of that, then they would know what to do if there was a possession. So they wouldn't need the priest. They would just call in the grandma, and she would come in and go like, "Okay, this is what you do," and then they would do it. End of that bad guy. Yeah, that's why they wouldn't have it, and yeah, that's why you don't hear about them because they would know what to do. So yeah, it's deliberately lit darker and more spooky because it's Halloween. So, it's, yeah. As far as yeah, it's not really. Well, last year we had a similar costume with a beard and all that. Yeah, so yeah, some of the other ones were taken down. We took down some of anything that showed the Harvest Festival. Even though I think we actually did overkill and we took some stuff down that wasn't the Harvest Festival. Not even pictures of us. So probably could have put those back. But yeah, the probably will put those back. Just take that footage. I don't think it's in there though. I'll have to check. But yeah, we didn't record that this year, the Harvest Festival. Yeah, I was like, why would we record that? Martha seemed to think, oh, my sister seemed to think like, oh, you totally record it every year. Not true. Well, during the pandemic, there wasn't one, and last year there wasn't anything. I think there were like 2 pictures from mainly of me dressed up and some of the Star Wars people. That was it. And then earlier than that was 2018, and that really was just the Star Wars people. No one else. Me again. Then 2016, then there was some of the other people and me. So yeah, there really wasn't much. There was every year. No. Going back a ways to 2014, I guess, and then you go back before the channel existed. So yeah, I was not the one in charge of doing the filming. The wasn't this year either. So yeah, there's yeah, weird. Nothing really, nothing really scary this evening or nothing. It's not much of a special. So there wasn't going to be there's not really. This doesn't really count as a special. It just happens to be Halloween, and it'll probably be uploaded after, the next day because there's not really. This is just the way it works. I think the toy show that Mark's Cards and I went to, John Mark's Cards, went to on the 7th counts as your Halloween special because there were Halloween themed stuff there, including the thumbnail with the spider. So yeah, it was already there. Yeah. So yeah, there's not really much. Yeah, I did get to build that thing out of boxes, the creature. Never got to do that before. To build a creature and light it up in the yard. I built other things in the yard, dioramas and things that back in the day, high school age Dan wanted to do stuff, and there was a couple of years that it just didn't make sense. There was the infamous one where he put garbage bags all over the side of the house because he wanted to emulate the Boggs' pirate ship thing that had garbage bags on the sides. Didn't work because it wasn't. You couldn't tell what it was going on. Why would you just have bags hanging from the house? A plastic bag that could be a body bag is not scary. So it just looked like a trash house or something with the lights, similar lights to this one. So it doesn't work. And the weird zombie diorama that had in the corner. Yeah. Some other people have had better haunted houses. There was a or haunted areas and stuff. When I was a teenager, they had friends and I were out and Halloween, and they had somebody had done a crash test dummies, that 80s crash test dummy guy done up in a perfect crash test dummy outfit, lying perfectly motionless on the ground like he'd been broken by being in an accident. There was a car parked on the lawn and everything. And it was obviously staged to look like a crime, like a accident scene. And as you walk up to him, then he moved just a little bit, and everybody was scared shitless. Ah! One year, Big Tim was a G-Man with his Megatron gun. One year, Jim Ticcon was Jason from Friday the 13th with the hockey mask. I think from part 6 is what he was doing. But yeah, what do you know? One year he was a leather bondage person. That was a little creepy, but I don't know where he got a leather mask. He ordered it in a mail order thing, I think. Yep, we kept saying every year, well, we should crash a Halloween party. So it was 94, we crashed a Halloween party. It was after the 2 Martha parties, 92 and 93. And she didn't do them anymore. So the neighbors, the Pixar, they were down the 2 houses down, used to be some Pixar people, animators. But you know how many animators they had on those movies? Just like, hundreds of them. Multiple hundreds of them. So it's somebody in the animated. And they were having a Halloween party. And all comers could go in. So we went in. Jim Ticcon refused to go in. He didn't want to do it. So me and John and Tim went Merce Cards. We go in there, and then we hang out. I think I mentioned this a few times. And we drank their beer, and on their whiteboard stuff where they had written stuff from Cars and Pixar, Toy Story, and Bugs Life, their newest movie that was in production. I had drawn the Enterprise and the Forge Visor and stuff like that. And then they're all, okay, you have to go because you're doing Star Trek and we're Pixar. We're Disney. But yeah, and your friend's drinking all the beer. But we did see a drunk werewolf. That was funny. Who then removed the top of his costume and was spinning around in the middle of the living room. He was very, very drunk. That was pretty wild. So yeah. Ew, didn't imagine anybody drinking that light beer. Yeah. Well, I did see something scary at Target concerning beer, or booze. I saw a couple of days ago at Target. I saw Diet Cherry Coke and Cherry Coke. Diet Coke and maybe it was Cherry. Diet Cherry Coke and Jack Daniels, and Cherry Coke and Jack Daniels. I heard of rum and Coke, but no, not Diet. No. Ooh. Marcus Cards' comment was, it probably tastes like cough medicine and booze. Well, I said it probably tastes like turpentine and cough medicine. Ew. But I've never had a rum and Coke, so I don't know. But I have had a mojito at the convention. Yeah, but, so, yeah, Halloween stuff, reminiscing, I guess. Scary movies to see and stuff. Let's point out The Exorcist was one of the scariest movies I've seen, the original one. Partly because of the medical scene, not really the barfing. The barfing was kind of funny. So, and actually, if her head had spun around like that, her neck would have been broken. She would have been dead. The human neck cannot go like an owl and go all the way around. And actually, the owl's neck doesn't go all the way around either. I've seen owls that like an ornithorynx, like a bird place. There was at a convention. Baycon had a couple of. Sometimes Baycon used to have ornithologists, bird people, and they had an owl, and it wouldn't turn its head all the way around. It would turn its head like way off to the side, or go this way off to the side, but not all the way around. No, it would just has a lot of range of motion with its neck. Its head is connected further back, so it can kind of go this way, but not all the way around. It just looks like he's doing it. It's an optical illusion. Oh, owls. Yeah. Ooh, back in the day when Harry Potter was cool and J.K. Rowling wasn't an anti-trans bitch. Yeah, there were contests on Facebook for what house of Harry Potter were you in, and oddly enough, Kal Kat always tested off as in Slytherin, not in the other houses. It's always Slytherin. Aww. Because yeah, Slytherin. Oh, in Slytherin. Yeah. Well, the currently rendering Starship Locations Destinations, the final season of the series. Currently, I'm up to the movie that supposedly comes out 2 months after the series, in terms of the timeline. But we filmed the movie. We shot the movie right after the series, so it isn't really. It's kind of like they do with Generations, shot right after the show, like within. Yeah, shot the movie right after. Painted up everybody to make them look a little further along, and then filmed them immediately. The show should be out in. Oh yeah, it should be out in November, obviously. But yeah, it was going to be out before Lower Decks ended. But it turns out it's going to be out after Lower Decks. And I've already gone on to the other. I haven't been able to download the other blogs, though. So all of this other stuff is going to appear like after all of that, because it's not all done yet. So yeah, these are kind of, they're not pre-recorded. They're being recorded now, but these other channel updates and things are all before Lower Decks does its last finale on Thursday. And we'll get these out first, and then the series will come out after that. Oh, but yeah, and it looks like predictions indicate the Lower Decks finale will not be exactly a Cillian episode, because that would be really strange if they went there. Especially since Beckett Mariner is actually based on McMahon's sister, not on Libyan from Pine Hill. Oh, Libby from Pine Hill. No, she's not. She just acts like her. We know she's not. But yeah, there's been interesting coincidences. There was also another coincidence today. I was watching a 12-year-old video of Will Wheaton, Shatner, making fun of his first meeting with Shatner. And he mentions that on Next Generation, they would wear suits to pad their muscles, make their muscles bigger. They would do that on Next Generation. And Mark's Cards had made a parody story in high school about Riker walking onto the Enterprise wearing a muscle suit underneath, and with balloons, and Deanna Troi pops one of them. Yeah, I thought it was a funny gag, pop the balloon. Apparently, they actually did that. Turns out on the show to make their muscle tone look bigger, which is kind of weird that they would bother padding them like that. But you can kind of tell they did. And then DC Comics would draw up the characters to look all like superheroes. Ridiculous muscle tone. But it was just suits. It was padding. Yes. Even Will Wheaton had the padding. But yeah, Will Wheaton. That's where all the ages and the names in the other story don't match up. Unless Beckett Meredith is really held back, and she actually is in her mid-30s, like the actress. I guess she is, according to Larry Mimikek. She probably is. So she's running around the ship, and she's like late 29, 30, and she's pretending to be 20 or 25 or something. It's like, why is she still an ensign then? She should be a commander. Yeah, so my theory for that other story is probably going to be completely off. Although it would be awesome if they rescue Cito Jackson. They find her, because I don't buy that shuttle accident that killed her. And neither do a lot of other fans buy that either. In that story. Yeah, why is that one person left out? Yeah, Next Generation didn't do that before. Anyway, so yeah, there's but I was doing that on the other story, so this is not really a Halloween story. I guess I could mention some Halloween stuff. Watched the Frog Leap band doing their This Is Halloween from Nightmare Before Christmas. Often credited to Tim Burton, when it was actually someone else that directed it. But he's the producer. So. Yeah. I can't remember who the other guy that did it was. But, oh well. The Chronicles of Narnia kind of ends like a horror movie. There was a British guy, doing a thing on the Chronicles of Narnia, and the whole series. Kind of ends kind of messed up. Basically, well, if you clearly read it. If you read it, you know that like it ends with, and basically saying it's the incident of Owl Creek Bridge, kind of. Now, the incident of Owl Creek Bridge was I think, Outer Limits episode, maybe a Twilight Zone, and I think it was Outer Limits. In it, this guy goes through this horrible thing that's going on, and these various events are happening over and over, and building up, finally leading to a flashback to the beginning of the story, and he's actually been hanged. He's actually dead. Um, that's kind of what they did at the end of Chronicles of Narnia. They kind of go like, "Oh, by the way, that train crash in the first episode, yeah, you were dead. You were actually been in heaven the whole time." Which does beg the question, then why did all the other stuff happen? It kind of doesn't make sense. It's kind of like the author got mad. And although I don't know for sure whether C.S. Lewis was actually smitten for anyone named Susan, but I'm willing to speculate that he was, and that's why Susan was kicked out of the last 2 books, because she didn't like what he was writing about her. So like, so they're all like, you're out. I'm just gonna write you out of the story entirely, and they become all annoying and prissy, and I'm gonna have you around anymore. Mm-hmm. Whereas if it had been his friend Tolkien, they knew each other. Tolkien would have written it so that the girl goes off into the sunset proudly and after fighting a dragon or something, because he was more grounded with that kind of thing. He was like, I'm gonna be heroic here. He was more chivalrous. So. Yeah. C.S. Lewis. Who knows? Yeah, he probably had an ex named Susan. There are semi-questionable scenes in Destinations about characters that are loosely based on exes, but they all end fun. So, please, no problem. Yeah, badly. There was a review of the Donnie Darko movie, which I remember from like 20 years ago. It's now classic. How can that be a classic? Well, it's 20 years ago. Okay. Somebody analyzing that movie, going like, okay, here's what happened. It was a time travel, a time warp, and actually he erases the time warp by letting himself be killed by the crashed plane engine. An airplane engine falls out of the sky and lands on the house and kills him. And it's Incident off Brick Bridge again, but it's a movie version with the events going along later. It's kind of messed up because it's although it's a movie set in the 80s, it's really the 90s in the story. He's a 90s kid. He's not an 80s kid. All that other stuff could just be a hallucination as he's dying. About to get gobsmacked by a fallen plane engine. And then you have what was the other? The Event Horizon. Somebody else was reviewing Event Horizon on the internet. Get a chance to look at all this stuff when you're rendering a movie and you got nothing else to do but stare at a screen and watch some YouTube. Guys are looking at Event Horizon as all a series of hallucinations. The crew is just like the oxygen's screwed up or the atmosphere's screwed up on the ship, and they're imagining all that stuff happening, like the weird like hellscapes and stuff and all that. It's Paul Anderson's movie. I think that was Anderson that directed that. The guy that did the Resident Evil movies. I think it was that guy. I think so. It's an interesting theory that maybe they were just hallucinating, but not according to the director. According to the director, the studio messed with his movie and cut out 20 minutes of it. And you're never going to see that version of the 20 minutes. They lost it. Or it was destroyed. It's not a hallucination. Maybe the crew does hallucinate a little bit, but no, it's the Exorcist in space. And they get sucked into a warp. And the ship goes to hell and comes back. That's what the director said. He went to hell and came back. So, but literally they went to hell and back. So yeah. No, it's not a hallucination. Characters in it actually experienced what they're experiencing. And there's no body swapping. What body swapping scene was just... that was somebody's mind going crazy. But, yeah. Being possessed by bad guys. On the other side. Ooh. But, yeah, that was... they went down. Kind of the opposite of Narnia. Other Narnia. And in the Netflix show of Narnia, they're doing a Netflix show. They can ignore all the racial overtones of the Asians and Arabs that were portrayed in it really badly. You can ignore that stuff because no. They've done an Avatar: The Last Airbender series apparently that's coming out that looks kind of. I'm not sure what to make of it really. It has some fun Kal Kat like elements. It does look better than the M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong version. But it's got some issues. He looks a little old, but that's alright. Toth is well done. They show the earth bending and fire bending and stuff like that. We'll see how well they do the sci-fi stuff. The Appa doesn't look half bad. The flying bison flies through the air. It's like a balloon. It's not bad. It doesn't look bad. It looks cheap, but it doesn't look bad. So that'd be fun. Other reviews and stuff. Other complaining about the Marvels thing. I did a review of that South Park episode. The joining the Pandaverse video. So you can watch that later on. But I'm not going to do any other South Park episodes. I just reviewed that one. I've seen some of their Halloween stuff over the years and other stuff. I have no further comments on doing Q&A. This isn't really a Halloween special. It's just a chat. It's not. Thing is probably burning up in the front yard. No, the lights aren't that hot. Kind of funny. Well, it's mostly plastic, and it's got covering, so it probably won't catch fire. Probably. There hasn't been. There were a slew of trick-or-treaters. Well, at 4 o'clock there were trick-or-treaters. Then again at 5:15 or so. A few. And then 6, 7. Each hour, roughly, in intervals. There were some about 40 minutes ago. A bunch of them. Like one after the other. Like a car. Parents. You know. The house with the lights shooting up into the air is the only one on the block like that. So that people are attracted to it. They're like, oh, look at that. House park. What is that? So yeah, I've never heard of it. It's been a while since we did a light show thing from the yard. After that, was it after that zombie thing? I think it was. And then there was like a sequel in which I did it better. That was the one where Werewolf Fuzzyface came back from his long sojourn working for the industry and he come back. And he's like, what year was that? Was that 2016, 2015, somewhere in there? Ooh, yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah, he come back and he was like, "Oh, well, fuzzy face." Yeah, well, and it was. I think it might have been 2016. So, it was an odd episode. And it was the Mercury and all that. It might have been that year. It might have been earlier though. I might be thinking of 2014. In which case, the Mercury in it. And the werewolf, the fuzzy face, was hiding by the Mercury and scaring the kids as they come up. As a werewolf dog thing. Ooh. But yeah, I might be mixing two of those Halloween stories together. There was there was a later one too. Yeah. And then there was a way, way earlier one. It turns out it was Julie and Amber Nelson, and they were cats. And that was way a long time ago. And Sarah and Philip were little, and there was like niece and nephew, and there was like I was a gunsmith cat. I was the brown cat, and the 8-year-old kid back in the day. Like, that's the girl. I know. Oh my. But yes. But yeah. Later on, though, in the series of gunsmith cats, they introduced another brown cat that was a male. So a couple of years later. So. I was okay. I was just ahead of the curve. And many years later, I was the brown cat. Oh, well. Trick-or-treaters. Asian girls. Mostly Asian. Probably from the junior high. Huh. This year, apparently, those pajama union suit things, like my Eeyore costume and Chewbacca one, they're real big. And everybody's got the piano. Those were there were Eeyores, and that was a couple of Winnie the Poohs there. And some other characters from something else. Possibly Five Nights at Freddy's, this one was. You know, something similar to Five Nights at Freddy's. Probably not. There's probably supposed to be some kind of anime characters. Because they weren't scary costumes, so they weren't Five Nights at Freddy's. They were anime characters. Just not familiar with the show. I think that, though, that one of them was, like, regular show or something. So, I know what that is. Something else. I'm not familiar with all those. Mark's Cards would know. Oh, that's this and this and that. So one year I was a brown cat again. And I did it correctly, and I had the makeup and everything. It was very cool. I think I have that picture around here somewhere. Brown cat again. Yeah. Anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I did it correctly. I had the Chewbacca suit, which was new, and then I had changed the ears up. The ears were lost at a convention. They blew away. And then I got new ones, and at the other Fanime, the recent the one that Mark's Cards actually attended, and we got new ones for the convention, and then I lost them again at the convention where I was doing the dance. One of them flew off, so I have one of them. I just don't have the other one. Yeah, great. And I was ahead of the curve with the silly dance because Barbie movie did that. I knew they were going to do it, so I did it. No. But yeah. Oh yeah, and I found this, the Campia show was, Rob Burnett was wearing, the Campia show, was wearing, I Have Become Death, Destroyer of Worlds, but it's written as a blast. And it's in pink, and it's over a background, like a grayish black background. And I thought it was hilarious because it's basically Barbenheimer. It's basically the spoof of the Oppenheimer Barbie controversy because the two movies came out at the same time and made a lot of money. So, yeah. And I had to have the shirt because it's hilarious. Yeah, I've become death. I had to have the shirt. So, I have the shirt. It's on order. That's funny. You know. Yeah, I don't... with the I guess with the writer's strike over about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago, and with the actor strike still going on, a lot of movies have been suspended, which does affect everything from toys to advertising to everything else because they need writers to write stuff and actors to act in commercials. So if you can't get any actors to act in your commercials, you're gonna have a tough time selling your toys. So yeah, yeah, but the writer's strike. I wonder what that's going to do to the Oscars this year, because really they've got nothing in the fall. They have nothing new in the fall. I haven't done many movie reviews on the movie channel because there has been really nothing to go out and see. The Marvels is coming next week. I'm not going to the AMC premiere where the Marvels is playing over there because the AMC theater in our area sucks. I don't see any reason to go over there unless it's the Eastridge one is a little better, but not by much. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to have to go back to the summer movies and give Barbie the best picture. And Oppenheimer. They're probably not going to do that, though. Because usually Nolan doesn't win for best picture, even though his movies are very much cinematic and in the vein of Oscar. Give me an Oscar. Yeah. So, I don't know what they're going to do. Usually they pick the fall movies, even though John Campio argues, no, they don't really do that. Yes, they do, because they have no attention spans. grab the fall movies, because that's when all the dramas are released. They never go after summer blockbusters. They haven't done it for 30 years. If you go back and you look at which movies get the Oscars, which actually get the Oscar, not just nominated, get the Oscars. You have very few movies that are the crowd-pleasing one that wins the Oscar. It's very, very rare. I know there are other people that disputed that, going like, no, well, what about this or that picture that was, or what about the art house pictures that were used? Well, the studio fixed that too, because they would buy up these art house companies and then say, oh, see, Fox, Searchlight, not Fox, or something like that, or did the Sundance, and yeah. And but it was really Disney. It wasn't art. It wasn't art house. So come on. So it was really Disney. It wasn't. Yeah. So they do that. They still do that. They absolutely do that. They'll grab the drama weepy movie that's about the special man or special woman. Ooh, because special. Yeah. Because they figure that's the one that they like. Let's do the historical special piece that has cinematic properties. That gets the award. It's kind of funny that one year the Shape of Water, that unusual movie about the Swamp Thing guy, won the award because they were smart and they showed only the Oscars, only the part where the monster shows her old movies. And they just thought that it was a movie about old movies. So they're like, great, this is great. Okay, it gets the award. That's what they did. There was The Blind Side. They only played that one clip that the mother's acting in that to get the Oscar. They got the Oscar that way. They've done this a few times. The English Patient. That one scene. The whole movie is garbage. It's boring as hell. Yeah, but no. One scene. That's just in the trailer. Yeah. And really, the Marvel movies. If I was a Marvel shill, like if a Marvel shill, then I wouldn't be saying, well, the latest Marvel movies have been kind of, hit or miss. Sure, the Into the Spider-Verse Sony movie, the sequel, it's great, but and sure, Mountains of Madness wasn't that bad, but Spider-Man No Way Home, that was fine. But yeah, the other ones just the Ant-Man one was like, pass. Well, that movie, that whole Kang Dynasty series has the problem of being Kang Dynasty and Jonathan Majors, who's apparently in trouble. But they haven't proven anything. It's just allegations. He's in trouble. They can always recast, but they're worried about that at Disney. They're like, oh, should we actually not do this? Yeah, should we not do this? Should we not do this story arc? Because it maybe doesn't work. Also, it is kind of silly that if they're going to call it Kang Dynasty anyway, if they're going to go there and the guy is basically Flash Gordon type Ming the Merciless, or the Mandarin from the comics. I know they don't want to upset the Chinese audience by actually having him be Chinese, but it doesn't make sense to call him Kang then. So why not do it at all? To just dump it right there with Ant-Man and say, you know what, Ant-Man should have died. Yeah, as some of them were saying. Yeah, I know they can't do that because it would be racist, but then don't do it. Sometimes you have a character that you just can't do. I mean, the Ten Rings kind of spoofed that and had the bad guy who turns out to be the puppet behind the throne go like, oh, but the Mandarin is a dish, a chicken dish. Yeah. But yeah, it still didn't work. Because it's basically being merciless from, yeah. You can't make a current Flash Gordon Buck Rogers thing. You'd have to make him green or something. In Marvel, they made Kang blue. Him turn blue, but they just race swapped him in black. But that makes it even more awkward, though, that they race swapped him to be black. Because then it's like, well, are you saying the villain is black guy then? That's not. That's almost as bad. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Why not just make? I don't know. Yeah. Your horror movies and stuff. Yeah. Oh, Q&A. Oh, yeah. Have I seen Jason X in space? Yes, I have seen Jason X. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to review it, though. There's no point. It's one of the Friday the 13th movies. I think it was part 10. It goes into space. I think, actually, that one is not as embarrassing as Jason Takes Manhattan. Because I remember that fucking thing in the theater. I remember us being annoyed in the theater. Like, wait a minute. He went to New York for 5 minutes. He showed up at the pier, went on the subway, went into Times Square, didn't kill anybody, went after the main final girl and the guy, and then it kind of ends. What? Or an toxic attack or something. What? What? Yeah, I think that was worse, because at least when he was in space, it kind of made more sense that, okay, this is an alternate dimension where he's saved until the distant future when we have like pirates and weird space people and out in spaceships, and we'll use sets from Corman movies that left over. But yeah, I don't know what they were doing. Ooh. Stretch Armstrong commercial. Yeah, back in the day. What's the scariest thing I've ever been in? Ooh. Oh, that's the scariest thing I ever did or been in. Let's see. I think one of the most fun, creepy things I did was probably a couple of years ago during the pandemic. I adapted a fan film story from, I think Gabriel Kwan was the author of that. The Fallen Empires or whatever, the one where the Autobots go to that weird planet where the dwellers are actually running amok on the planet, and they have to get away down into the mines to hide. And they're chasing them, and they're like trying to take them out. And the Decepticons are over there. That was actually really good. I liked that movie. That was fun doing that. It was an Halloween one. It was released on Halloween. A couple of years ago. Yeah, that was a fun one. Yeah, so I like that one. Dwellers. We get to see the Dwellers again, played by Skylings, but it was the Dwellers. Foreshadowing the evil Skylings who shows up at the end of the Redemption, at the end of that season. But it was like, yeah, about 3 episodes later. Your Halloween story. One that I've done. Yeah. Ew. Scariest thing I've done. I suppose dressing up like a lady in that Starcrackers thing. No. Wait a minute. Let's see. That was funny. Scariest thing I've done. That's a good one. Remember the haunted house stuff? I remember like the one time, once or twice we've been to the Great American Haunted House thing. I was scaring them in addition. But and then there was the year that I was 16 or so, and there was a haunted PE cafeteria multi-purpose room had been converted into a haunted house. I was in there, working in there. I was Thundercracker. All done up in cardboard Thundercracker costume, all built up with a flashy light, laser thing, and all this other stuff. Dad was an engineer. Could have built stuff. But yeah, including a garage door opener pager thing that would actually turn on a light, and it would shoot the laser beam like pew, pew, pew. Yeah, like before toy versions of that came out. Essentially like a mini phaser thing that actually worked. Shine a light. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, and it would scare the other students. Sticking my space gun into their back. Move, human. Uh, but yes, there he is. Ooh, how about the I don't know, I guess the Colorado grade thing with the van's going to go backwards. But I knew we'd get over it. So they had a truck with a leather thong. Came along and pulled us up the grade. Like 13. Oh, I got to ride up in the big semi-truck. That was interesting. Yeah, the other van was conking out on this big road, freeway. And this big semi-truck pulled up and helped us out and pulled the truck with a nylon rope from the back of his trailer. It was interesting. Summer of '83. But yeah, I thought it was fun. But yeah, there was also a scary haunted house thing. Yeah, the haunted house stuff is scary. Yeah, I like the haunted house stuff more than I like the scary woods. Scary woods don't really do anything. I remember one time we were freaking each other out on a camping thing. And Jim Ticcon was like, we heard some creaking noises out there. There was a creature out there. As far as I'm all, no, it wasn't a creature. No, it wasn't. They were trying to do. They were still doing that gag on the college retreat trips in the 2012 area. A couple of times they did that one. They're outside the tent, like scratching on the tent. Like, yeah, I know you're outside the tent scratching on the tent. I can tell. Yeah. I hear Amanda Rumsey giggling. Friends like, oh. It was funny. But yeah. We were finally all, go to sleep. Oh. Yeah. No, it wasn't scary. The Blair Witch thing freaked out all the fans because they thought it was real. Ooh, it's real. No, I made fun of it. Actually, that was one of the more fun of horror things we did. Right around the time that movie was like sensational, I was one of, like with that Gamelt story with the Star Trek, I was one of the detractors. I came out there with the Blair Witch thing. I was like, no, it's fake. It's fake. There's a director and a producer. And I'm going to make fun of this. Not only am I going to make fun of this movie, I'm going to get a Transformers episode of my fan film series. I'm going to have, like, the Maximals and the Predacons. I'm going to make the Blair Witch Waspinator. I think they're going to meet Optimus Prime. The Beast Wars are going to meet Optimus Prime. They're going to fight the Blair Witch. And became the Mousetrap Project. Our most successful horror series Transformer crossover. Our channel. Yes, the Mousetrap Project, of which there have been 4 of them. I think 4 of them. Wouldn't count. I don't really count the Teddy Ruxpin stuff and the Creepypasta stuff as Mousetrap. It's in the same playlist, but it really isn't Mousetrap. Mousetrap has to have some kind of a Blair Witch goofy thing on it. Although you kind of could count it as a spin-off. And the first Mousetrap Project, the figure was based on doing all this stuff. And the second one, the aliens come to Earth. It's the one that Mark Cards co-directed the last 30 minutes of it. Yeah, man, we're in the spaceship and everything. The third one, the third one is Werewolf Fuzzy Face showing up. That's the 2019. The second one's 2016, and the third one's 2019. Third one is the excursion. Werewolf Fuzzy Face is Pandacon, and they show up, and a lot of that footage had been thought lost, but then was recovered, and we put that in the 2019 re-release of that. There was like a re-release of the 2016 movie in 2019 as a re-release, and we got to fix that footage. In that one, the mall was this spaceship where they were trapping all the people in the mall, and then later on there was the cat house, which is some lady's house with these funky cat things, and we made it like a cat house of ill repute. And at the end, all of the Kal Kat clones, I got to play myself and several of my characters. They all apparently had an orgy. They didn't show it. They just said the aftermath of it. You know, they're like, "Oh, is it good for you? Is it what's for me?" It's like, yeah, I was basically spoofing the hacker slasher movie where everybody's in a perdition at the end because the role captured them. And then I got to film briefly inside Dave and Buster's where I used to work at years ago, and that was hilarious. To go back there, don't film any of the games. The captain guy said, but I didn't. Oh, that was the one where Mark's Cards rescues one of them to the house. But yeah, that was the weird spaceship like alternate universe kind of thing too, as well. You know, because I remember in the third one, Cowpoke grabbed the space wand that he had. He said it was a magical being. That was afterward. Like he had the wand in the spaceship, and then he went back and he's a magical wizard now. Yeah, and then in the non-canon, but still there, Teddy Ruxpin one. We did the Teddy Ruxpin one, and the beginning of the creepypastas, which we do at the conventions each year. Usually at Fanime, but sometimes at the Comic-Con and the other one. And yeah, and Mark's Cards has been in 2 of those just recently. With the end of the pandemic, we had 2 of those. We had a couple of Fanimes and then Silicon Valley Comic Con. And they didn't have that this year. There would have been one this month, but they didn't have one this year. But they did have Fanime a couple of months ago in May. Was it that? But and at the toy show this month. Was it that? So yeah. And the Teddy Ruxpin thing was hilarious. Silly Kelly, we want to do the Teddy Ruxpin. Yeah, I think I'm done though. I'm done with whatever this is. I don't know what this is. There hasn't been anybody trick-or-treating in half an hour. I think they're done. It is 9:30, and I doubt that 9:20. I doubt that anyone else is coming by. I will wait an additional 20 minutes before closing down the set. It has been shooting the shit tonight. It's not really a Halloween special, but on Halloween I'm dressed up and yeah, talk about scary stories and stuff. Scariest movie ever seen? Well, I mentioned it was actually Suspiria was fun. It's a messed up movie. The Conjuring wasn't bad. That was kind of messed up. Yeah. The remake of Blair Witch, I think it was 2016. That had an extended haunted house scene that was I kind of like that. They ended up in the haunted house. Yeah. I would consider the remake though sort of a spiritual follow-up. Like they just trapped some more people. Even though the whole story is completely ludicrous, the original version of it was those 16mm cameras, the battery pack that's like this big. That's a battery pack that lasts 25 minutes. The movie they would all be dead, long before they got enough film. But yeah, that's why it really didn't make sense to me. It is funny that I was able to film the exact same scenes with a video camera in 1999 that looked better than the movie. That's kind of sad. But I was using a digital video camera, digital processor. So. And actually, they haven't improved those digital processors all that much. It's still, this is a newer one this is a Canon Vixia. I think it's the 700. The processors back then were better with night vision than they are now. I don't know why that's... when I went out there to film that thing, the light was all washed out. And you couldn't really... Yeah, it would be kind of hard to do another Blair movie with one of these cameras. Current one. The processor just can't handle a low light. That doesn't look good. Yeah. It's kind of odd. The strangest thing I've done for art. I won't say. No. Scariest YouTube channel. Oh, maybe the unicorn guy. No. No. Hard to say. I don't really have a. Yeah, I'm not gonna make any recommendations to any channels or anything. I don't think so. Ew. I'd say anything that's the most cringe about stunts, I guess. Ew, like the Jackass show. Okay, you're always waiting for them to hurt themselves and go, ha ha ha, and then you laugh. Ew. But yes, so that's kind of it. Yeah, this is just me chatting. The blog. Anyway, so yeah, it's kind of it. It's not really a Halloween special. It's just sort of another addition to the update, I guess. But it is on Halloween. I'm gonna go see make sure the set isn't caught fire or anything. That would be kind of funny if it did. Set hasn't caught fire. So that was another group of trick-or-treaters. Well, two. Probably siblings, I guess. Anyway, we have still a stash left there, so we got some candy. I had giant bags of it, and I took them. I took most of them away to the church, but so yeah, I'm gonna shut it all down in like a minute or two, I think. It's weird that they like come down the street last minute. Oh well. Okay, it is 9:45. I'm killing the set. There's not gonna be anybody else. It's late. So I'm going to kill the set. Let's see, where is the power thing here? That's the power strip. Oh yeah, those two are their own thing. Yeah. So, we'll walk out here. I put away the spooky set. It's gone. Threw away most of it. Well, not the boxes. Okay, so yeah, that's it. This Halloween is. Well, we're doing a special. It's not really a special. We were doing we're just shooting the shit. Anyway, so the end of it was just we tore down the set, put all the stuff away, the longest it's ever been in many years, a dozen years at least. Longest it's done a Halloween special. Well, not a special, but a Halloween thing where where there were trick or treaters up until like 9:30. Then we stopped. So usually it would stop at 9. Usually Mom would say, "Stop at 9." So yeah, but this one went a little longer than 9. Yeah. In terms of Halloween story, though, we've done a midnight a couple of times. So. Anyway, we're not doing that tonight. Yeah, so basically I'm saying that this is it for the evening. We're done. No, about 10 now. Okay, so we're done.